Hello and welcome back to the channel. We come to you today once again from Sanibel Island, Florida. Today's an exciting day. We haven't done a travel video in a little while, but that's all about to change because we have a whole bunch coming up. But the first thing we need to do is get the Casita camper and the Rivian R1S back to Ohio. So that's today's trip. We'll be driving here from Southwest Florida to Northeast Ohio. It'll take all of today and most of tomorrow. And then after that, we have some really exciting upcoming trips to Michigan and Colorado and Maine and New Hampshire and states in between. So it's going to be a busy, fun-filled summer of all-electric camping and travel videos. So let's get started. Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. All right, we are leaving with 99% state of charge. It says with the trailer we'll get 327 miles of range. It weighs a lot more than 1,000 pounds, so it's got to do some recalculation. We're going to head up to, I'm going to try to get to Land O'Lakes, Florida, which is just north of Tampa. I'm not sure if I'll get quite that far. There's a couple other bailout spots if I need to stop sooner. Our route home, we're going to go kind of the middle route, so there's three routes. The western route is Interstate 75 all the way to Georgia and Atlanta, and then up through Cincinnati and back up Interstate 71 to Cleveland. The other option is Interstate 4 across through Orlando over to Jacksonville. I don't want that traffic. The middle choice is Route 301 up to Interstate 95 north of Jacksonville, and then you cut over in South Carolina, I think it's 26, to Interstate 77 that takes us up into Akron and close to home. So that's the route we're going to take. Here we go. As we head off Sanibel Island, it is 1 p.m. The GPS says with charging I will get back to Northeast Ohio at 3:45 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be later than that because I'm going to stop for at least a few hours sleep tonight. It says my first charging stop is a Tesla supercharger in Lakeland, Florida. After that, then there is a, it has to be going through Orlando. No, we're not doing that. So we'll be stopping at Lakeland, Florida or Land O'Lakes, Florida to charge. The route planning has a little bit of a twist here. It has me going up across over to Interstate 95, but it's missing Orlando, which I kind of like that. I just don't want to drive through Orlando. So I may go ahead and follow that, or I may go up Route 301 out of Ocala. We'll see. The in-car navigation has me going up kind of the middle of the state. It's kind of nice. Whereas I was off the interstate, it was kind of back roads, but 60-mile-an-hour speed limit, so that was just fine. We made good time. There were no little towns. Now we're into Lakeland. We're getting up there to charge. There's two chargers in Lakeland. The one I was going to had capacity, and the other one was full. And now I just looked again, and the one that was full before now has capacity, and the one I was going to is full. So I'm going to check one more time on the Tesla app to see which one is most available right now. And it says that, well, that's a problem. There's still a wait down, I know there's two available there, that's still pretty tight. There's 5 available up the northern one, so I'm gonna go to the northern one. There's also one over here, and there's only 2 available there. So yeah, I'm gonna go up to the northern one. This is what you see when you look. And if you click on the lightning bolt, it tells you how many are available. So we are at a Wawa convenience store and gas station. Gonna see if the big mystery is always, can I charge without unplugging? It's gonna be pretty tough here because the stall at the end that I like to use, they have an island right there. I don't know why they do that. I really don't. That one's not going to work, even though it's the 1.4. So as you can see, between that island and the tight driveway, there's just no real way for me to leave the camper attached while I'm charging at this station. So
we have we've had to make an unhook, and we left the camper over there in that parking lot. So as we're on charging, we'll go hook it back up. Not ideal. The central part of Florida is always a problem for me. Ocala, Gainesville, Lakeland, or Orlando. Very small charging spaces. These gas stations, they're nice stations, and I'm glad we have the chargers at all, but you can see how tight it is. There's just no real way to get a trailer in there without blocking a lot of traffic.
While it's never pleasant to have to unhook the trailer, it's really not that difficult. It took maybe 5 minutes to unhook it, 5 minutes to back up and hook it back up. Not a huge deal. Certainly, it's more than I'd like to do, but in those cases where you're going to end up blocking a driveway and aggravating people, it's just not worth it. So I went ahead and unhooked, and now we're off to the Daytona Beach Rivian Adventure Network charging station, and that one has at least one trailer pull-through spot, so looking forward to that one. No unhooking there. Alright, here we are pulling up to the Rivian Adventure Network at the Tanger Factory Outlets, our good friends from Tanger, in beautiful, hang on a second, if I pull there, how's that going to work? In beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm trying to figure out where to go. I mean, they're all empty, so I guess I can go anywhere. They have this one off by itself that looks like it's for trailers, but it's in the opposite traffic. Okay, I'll go up here and turn around and come back to it. So, I can't go too far out of my way because we are getting here at 4% state of charge. That's cutting it a little close with the trailer. I like to keep it around 10% with the trailer, 5% without. But let's we'll go up here and we will get charged on 1A. It's plug and charge. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to input anything. I don't have to do anything with an app. I just pull up and plug it in and away we go. So here we go.
Is this not a beautiful setup though? We have a whole bank of, I think there's 8 chargers over here. 8, and then over here we have just the best. We have the charger with a little space off to the side, long enough for the vehicle and a decent sized trailer. We fit easily. I could have pulled up further. So this is really helpful when you have a trailer to charge at the Rivian Adventure Network, if you have a Rivian.
Well, that was an excellent charging stop at the Rivian Adventure Network in Daytona Beach, Florida, the Tanger outlets. We got up speeds up to 212 kilowatts, which is the fastest I've ever seen on any vehicle I have. Certainly faster than the Tesla or the Lightning. That's the fastest I've seen for 400 volt architecture. I'm not quite sure how that happens. Anyhow, our next stop will be at the Tesla outlet. I'm sorry. Our next stop will be at the Tesla supercharger at a small strip shopping center in Yulee, Florida. It's behind the center, and there's you're able to pull in from the end, so it's real convenient to get to with the trailer. I actually charged there on my way down here. And then the next one after that is back to another Rivian Adventure Network in, I believe it's Pooler, Georgia, also to Tanger outlet. So those are our next 2 stops. All right, here we are pulling up to the Tesla supercharger in Yulee, Florida. Had a little bit of a kind of detour back there and some construction, and we are getting here with
your destination is on the left.
3% state of charge. That's less than I'd like. Fortunately, the one on the end here, 1A, is available, so we are going to use that one and only that one and not block the drive lane. Cool.
All right, so here we are once again. As you can see, we're able to be using just the one charger parked in some compact car spaces, and then the other 7 chargers are all still available. Well, actually somebody's using one of them, but not me. So we're using one charger, blocking one charger, and a couple parking spaces. Don't have to unhook. Oh yeah.
For 10 hours, but we finally escaped the state of Florida. We are now in Georgia. Our next stop is in Pooler, Georgia, at the Rivian Adventure Network. And then after that, we'll be into South Carolina. We are pulling up to the Rivian Adventure Network chargers at the Tanger Factory Outlet Center in Pooler, Georgia. It's nice. They have a pull-through spot for a trailer, so that's good. The problem is they have all these little islands, though, all over. Getting to it makes it a little hard to get to, but I think we can figure this out. I've done it before. I've used this station before. In fact, this exact charger. There's a Rivian parked there, but not really at the stall, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
Drive west, then turn right.
I'm going to pull in here anyhow. He's got plenty of other ones he can use because he does not have a trailer. We arrived with 3% state of charge. I bought that max pack battery, and by golly, I'm going to use all of it. 3%, we are going to charge up to 100%. I don't think we'll get that far, but I'm going to go back in the camper and get a little sleep. So I like to have it set for the full amount so I don't get idling fees. Not that there's anybody else here. Well, I did indeed fall asleep back there in the Casita. I feel much better now, actually. I'm glad I did that. And we got to 100%. The session summary says I put 137 kilowatt hours in the battery pack, 4.5 kilowatt hours for the cabin and battery temperatures, and 0.7 kilowatt hours for accessories. So let's see where our next stop is now, because with that full charge, it may not be where it was going to be before. Our next stop will be, so we're skipping one because this was going to be our second stop if I had only charged to 80% there. Casey, C-A-Y-C-E, I think you pronounce it Casey, South Carolina. So let's head that way. It is, oh, I'm going to only get there with 17 miles of range, so it's pretty far. Let's see how far it is. 166 miles, which we should be able to do on a full charge. So we will head that way, and hopefully we'll get through Charlotte after that, North Carolina, and then that's the last big city we have to deal with. And just like that, we have crossed the border from Georgia to South Carolina. We will charge at one time, I think, at South Carolina at Casey, and then we will have to see where our next stop is after that. I think it'll be after we get through Charlotte, North Carolina, because Charlotte, North Carolina is just on the southern border of North Carolina. So it's kind of the first thing you come through when you get into North Carolina. So we'll see what's after that. Well, it turns out that Casey, South Carolina is basically a suburb, if you will, of Columbia, South Carolina, if Columbia's big enough to have suburbs. And the Tesla superchargers here are in a nice little linear row here. I can use a couple of these. I think I'm going to go up and around. I mean, there's nobody here. It's 4:30 a.m. Probably not going to be anybody here. I'm going to do the same thing again, though. I'm going to, oh, there's 2 missing, I see. I'm going to go back and get a little more sleep, and then I should be good to go for the rest of the day in the morning. Got here with 3% once again. Seem to be pretty consistent with that. Another half hour, 40 minutes of sleep, and I got up, and it's charged up to 86%. So we're heading to Charlotte, North Carolina. Hopefully we can get through the city before rush hour. Just as the sun has begun to rise, I think, because it's so cloudy I can't tell for sure. I think it has risen by now. It's been late for almost an hour. We have entered into North Carolina. Now the states start going a lot faster as we go. North Carolina takes a couple hours, Virginia a couple hours, West Virginia is a little while, and then Ohio, and we're done. Next stop is in Mooresville, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, once we get through the Charlotte traffic. So I've seen several of these signs now that says the road is going to be closed near exit 42, find an alternate route. Even the route navigation in the Rivian tells me I have to get off the highway. So all this traffic has to get off the highway and go on surface streets to go around either a bad accident or construction. I'm not sure which. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll be so far off the highway we won't be able to tell, but it's certainly going to slow us down. Further messaging on the interstate has informed us that it is a serious accident that has the entire interstate closed. The backup was extending well beyond the accident, so we decided to be proactive, get off the highway a little bit early and go on some surface streets. It's not going to be as quick as if we stayed on the highway without the accident, but I think these surface streets will actually be quicker than if we stayed on and tried to fight our way through the traffic with everybody else. We're still going to the Tesla supercharger in Troutman, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, south of Statesville. We've zigzagged over Interstate 77 a few times now, and I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera or not because I'm mostly pointing forward, but it is at a dead stop, so I'm glad we got off early when we did. I avoided a good bit of it, but now I'm into the heart of where everyone's getting off, and I have to get across the highway under that overpass to get to the charging station and to continue on my route. That's actually the detour. So looks like we're gonna be sitting here. I've been here for about 10 minutes already. Looks like we'll be here for another 20 minutes or so. We are down to 4% state of charge. Normally if I had a gas car and I was that close to empty, I'd be nervous because idling, you use a lot of gas, but with an EV it shouldn't be a problem. If we're not moving, we're not really using anything. I've shut the climate off and opened the windows up. It's a pretty decent day out. It's 70 degrees, so we'll just keep on sitting here until we can get through. Whatever's going on up there, they're having a worse day than I am, that's for sure. There are some empty parking spaces by the chargers, so I'm going to block 2. There's 12 stations here, nobody's using any of them. I'm going to block a second one, and that should allow access in the driveway behind me, and I'll be able to charge and just block 2, well, block 1 and use 1. So again, there's nobody here, so it shouldn't matter. After charging in Troutman, I think it is, we are back on the detour, getting back to the interstate. It is moving slowly, but it's moving, so hopefully we'll be back on the interstate beyond the accident here in about 5 minutes. We just crossed back over the interstate, and now the northbound lanes are completely vacant because all the traffic was forced to get off at the previous exit. But we must not be to the accident, or we're past the accident but before the next on-ramp where we can get back onto the highway. Alright, finally we are back on the interstate, so hopefully we can get back up to highway speeds here and try to get home before dark. Now I'm facing a dilemma. The in-car navigation wants me to stop in a few miles and get a little more juice and then go all the way, I think, to into West Virginia, actually. I think I can make it to Wytheville, Virginia. The problem is, the distance is not a problem. I know I can make that, but there's a huge elevation increase, and I don't know how much that's going to affect range, particularly pulling the camper. So, should I give it a try, or should I take the safe way out? I think I'm going to give it a try. Well, here's the exit that's telling me to get off to charge. I'm going to go straight. I did slow down to 65, the speed limit's 70. I don't like going certainly less than 10 miles below the speed limit. 5 miles under the speed limit I'm pretty comfortable with.
Toward Mount Airy.
Generally speaking, it is better to drive the fastest you can safely and legally drive and charge more often, because that's, over a long period of time, that gives you the most efficiency. However, if you can skip a stop altogether, particularly with the trailer, where I may have to unhook in a facility I'm not familiar with, the ones in Wytheville, I know I can charge out without unhooking. That's maybe 10 more minutes, 5 minutes unhooking, 5 minutes rehooking. So I think in this case, it's okay to go a little bit slower and skip the stop. Let's see how it turns out. On the in-car navigation, I shut off the trip all the way to Northeast Ohio, and I only pushed in the trip to the furthest of the 3 charging stations in Whiteville that I know I can charge at without unhooking the trailer. And it says I'll have 25 miles to get there. So I don't know why it wanted me to make that intermediate stop, but I'm glad I skipped it. Now entering Virginia. We made it up over the mountain, and actually we have 22%. This is by far the highest capacity we've had when we pulled into a charging station. I will say though, going up the steepest part of that mountain from North Carolina into Virginia, we were under 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Now it got better once we got up the main initial incline, and then it kind of went back and forth. There's some ups and some downs, and we got back to a more standard 1.2 to 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour. But that going up a mountain like that, that's a real deal there, especially like I say, towing something like that. The wind resistance is normally the issue, but when you're towing something that heavy, just the mass of having that really comes into play. So we're going to charge up here. We were able to skip a station, and I think that'll carry through all the way home. So I think we'll have one less stop than we would have had overall. So let's get charged up here at the Circle K, because I can pull over here and pull up to one and not block anything except the one I'm using. We charged all the way up to 85% at the Circle K in Wytheville, Virginia. That's going to allow us to skip Princeton, West Virginia, and go all the way to Marmet, West Virginia. Princeton would be okay. I can probably pull in there with the camper, but I know that Marmet is straight in, pull-in parking. It's a big area. There's plenty of room. So that's my preference. So I stayed a little longer to get enough that I can get there. Then I may stay there and then try to get all the way up to Byesville, Ohio. I don't know if that's going to be possible or not. I have to do some checking with the calculator and some mileage, but we'll see how that goes. But we are now in the tunnel that transitions us from Virginia to West Virginia. When we come out of this end of the tunnel, we will be in West Virginia. Actually, I think the line's in the tunnel somewhere, but the sign's out here. So that's where we're heading now. West Virginia and Ohio, the last 2 states we have, it says we'll be home by about 8 o'clock. So that'll be a good thing. I really want to get home before dark, because without that much sleep last night, I get tired the second time the sun goes down on a long trip like this. So second day, I'm pretty tired. So yes, here we are in West Virginia. There's mile 1, exit 1. And there's the sign that says, "Welcome to West Virginia, wild and wonderful." A pouring rain on the West Virginia Turnpike is never fun. This is not going particularly well. Of course, it could be worse. It could be raining. Oh, wait. This is the Tesla supercharger in Marmet, West Virginia. It's nice because, as I said, it's really wide open, big area. I don't want to give trucks too hard of a time making a turn, but I don't think that's a problem. I'll come through here. They don't want me to use that one because it's the handicap one. Okay. So I guess I will take 3-2A. After getting to a 90% state of charge at the Marmet, West Virginia, which is basically Charleston, West Virginia, Tesla supercharger, the Rivian still thinks I need 2 stops. One for 16 minutes in Ripley, West Virginia, and I think in New Philadelphia, Ohio. But I believe, and I don't know why it isn't calculating this, there is a very easy access with a trailer Francis Energy charger in Byesville, Ohio. And I believe I can get there with the charge I have, and if I charge 80% there, I can get home, do it in one more charge, and that's what we're going to try to do. Let's see how it goes. By keeping my speed between 65 and 70 miles an hour, which road conditions were atrocious in the part of West Virginia just north of Charleston, I'm easily going to make it to Byesville with plenty of extra capacity. We'll charge up there, and then we will be heading for home. Just crossed back into Ohio if you didn't see the sign. Here we are pulling up to the Dollar General in Byesville, Ohio, and you will see there are 4 Francis Energy chargers. There's 2 cabinets, each with 2 cables. And the way the parking lot is laid out, although somebody parked in a spot I didn't really expect him to, I can pretty much pull straight in and not block any traffic. Pull into this one, and then I'll angle over. Well, I may not even have to angle over. They have really long cables. That's good. Now, someone told me these are pretty expensive, like twice what Electrify America charges over in Cambridge. But I don't have to unhook here, and I almost certainly would have to unhook there. And plus, at least one of those is usually broken. Sometimes more than one of them. So I'm very happy to pay the extra price to have something that's convenient. This will be our last charging stop, and then we'll be heading home. When we get there, we will give you all of the statistics for the trip and talk about what's coming up next. 64 cents a kilowatt hour is pretty expensive. I'll give the other people that. But look at this location. I'm able to stay unhooked, not block traffic, and not have to unhook, stay hooked. And I'm out of everybody's way, and it's easy access to the highway right down there. Well, we had one more detour just to make things interesting. There was a tree across the road just a few miles from the house here. Anyhow, the trip altogether was 1,258 miles. We averaged 55 miles an hour. We traveled for 22 hours and 42 minutes. We averaged 1.30 miles per kilowatt hour. We used a total of 968 kilowatt hours of electricity. We got home with 13% state of charge and just before 8 p.m. We certainly hope that you've enjoyed this look at our mad dash from Sanibel, Florida to Northeast Ohio. Unfortunately, that traffic accident that closed Interstate 77 north of Charlotte really cost us some time, but we made it home anyhow. As we mentioned in our introduction to this video, we're going to be having some really exciting videos coming up soon. We're going to have camping trips first to Michigan, then to Colorado. There'll be all electric camping, no gas, no propane, no diesel, just electricity. Anyhow, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Of course, we hope you're subscribed, and please hit that bell button so you're notified when those upcoming videos drop. Thank you!